creative, not competitive, right? So there are no limited resources. Being creative, competing on price is a recipe for failure, right? So what I want to do here is I want to really take a few minutes, even if it takes us the rest of this call, on creative ways that we can help break through our LSP's resistance to price, right? So it's not enough as owners that we know this and that we speak about price is only an issue when the value is not clear and we get and understand value. Remember, knowledge or understanding isn't power anymore. I mean, everybody understands these concepts. Your LSPs understand these concepts. We haven't like cracked the code. The only way we've cracked the code and what sets us apart from everything else that's out there for you to buy is that we're focused on the execution. We're focused on the action. All of us are taking an hour out of our lives each week to learn strategies to go back and take action on these. So one idea that we came up with on our own in terms of being creative was to share a testimonial each morning, if not once a week, but each morning. Start with a celebration, a connection point, reminding our team of why we're doing what we're doing. So I'd love to hear, you know, for some of you that have been with us for weeks and months, I'm sure there's some resistance to this from your LSPs. Let's workshop some of that. Let's see if we can come up with some breakthroughs to support you.
So I just wanted to kind of butt in there, and as you have the focus on providing value and being creative, not competitive, from what I see it, and from when I used to be a manager at my previous job, it's all about peer-to-peer learning. That's where your creativity comes from instead of the competitiveness. If your employees are working together and coming up with ideas and figuring out how this person does that thing, how that person does this thing, and then what I've found is that usually they put their minds together and come up with an even better way to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
So from what I think is that, you know, providing the value and being creative, peer-to-peer learning from managers themselves, as you said, sometimes you don't have to be a manager. You need to kind of show them that you are doing this stuff as well, or that you have done it. And that opens employees' minds up and their eyes up like you wouldn't imagine.
Yeah. I think that's a great, so let's capture that, Craig, because that's the premise, and thank you for that, Jess. That's the premise or purpose behind this group, right? Is it's peer-to-peer. When we can collaborate and work together, the best of the best ideas will come from this. And I can share in my own sales career, no disrespect to, I've had some of the best mentors on the planet. The biggest breakthroughs I've ever had is those calls that I have with my teammates, with my peers, getting on a call, understanding and asking questions of the top performer. Well, it's been that one, but second best performer, and understanding what are they doing, what's happening, right? Because in that, we can unlock some strategies and things that are different than being told them from our managers. So I invite each of you owners to really, I don't know, a challenge, but kind of nudge your team like, hey, you know what? I'm going to order, well, pizza's not good, but I'm going to order some lunch this Thursday, pay for it for all you guys. I just want to create an environment where you can collaborate. I'd like you to spend some time coming up with some outcomes or some solutions that you can break through on your top challenges, right? And as a manager or leader, that will be powerful because it empowers them to self-solve and to work in groups and collaborate together. So I think that's a powerful strategy. Another strategy, a way to be creative is, how many of you feel like you're babysitting a lot, or when somebody comes and knocks on your door, it's like something happened to them and it's so important to them, they need you to solve for it right now, that that 1 minute management. And at some point we're going to get to time management, but how many of you find yourself in a reactive mode responding to your LSP's challenges? Okay, Lindsay, I honor you for that. You can't be the only one, but maybe you're the only one I see. So what we've set up, for our clients that we work with, Allstate clients that we work with, is a mechanism where the LSP's got to go through just a brief process. They got to answer 5 or 6 questions. We can get that to you, but what the challenge is, who's involved, what the issue is, and to come up with 3 solutions and 1 that they recommend. And what we find is by them doing that, most of the time, just in the act of writing and getting it down and thinking of the solution, they never actually get there to you because it breaks their pattern. They're so accustomed to, and you've created the environment and the condition for them to always come to your door and solve for them. They become dependent upon you. You've enabled them. You haven't created little mini leaders and influencers. You've created little monkeys who require you to tell them what to do. So what happens in most cases when they're charged with coming up with the solutions themselves is they'll self-solve, and those challenges never make it to your doorstep, or when they do and they talk through the recommended one, and most times you're going to agree with that or you're going to suggest a different option, but that's going to be a growing or learning experience for them. So it frees up much more of your time and resources to be an owner because you're not focused on babysitting or fires, right? I can't tell you how many times with these clients we're working with, oh, I'm going to be late for the call. I'm putting out fires. I'm putting out fires. You shouldn't be putting out fires. You have firefighters. You're the fire captain. What the fuck are you doing holding the hose and putting out fires, right? You are the captain and leader of your business. So if you have a hose in your hand, drop it to your freaking firefighters and give them a framework to go and use it themselves. That's being creative, all right? So write that down. I am not a firefighter. I'm a fire captain, okay? And create that framework for them. And what you're going to create are people, the cream's going to rise to the top. They're going to want to be captains some days. Some examples we see is that's who agency owners are partnering with to open another location and create even more leverage. So create a framework, and I'd actually like to know, let's make that a homework assignment. Let's capture that, Craig, and put it in the group. I want to go over that next week and really be tracking and measuring and supporting you as owners in moving from firefighting to fire captainship. And how can we create the framework for them to put out these fires themselves? So really writing down and articulating what their challenge is, 3 solutions that they've come up with on their own, and the one that they recommend. And then let's go ahead and track and measure that. I think we're going to find a significant impact like we do with the clients we work with directly, Craig, on that piece.
So we're writing down their challenge, what their challenge is.
They are. So each of these agency owners are going to go communicate this strategy to their team so that when they bring them a challenge or an issue, it's not just, oh my God, this just happened. I need you to solve for, I need you to fix. They're going to write down the challenge, and they're going to take time and spend time coming up with 3 solutions that they've come up with and 1 that they recommend to you. So the action now is not coming to you to solve for them, but the action now is coming to you to pitch their solution. Now, we're not going to say this to them, but what they're ultimately going to find is through that effort, they're going to self-solve on their own because you've removed the crutch of them coming and handing you their hose. All right, so I really want you guys to track and measure this over the coming week because this is where the most value is. I can just be, you guys can pay for slide decks and bullet points and things like that out there, but holding you accountable to installing these things back in your team is where you're going to get the most impact from what we're doing together.